We know it's the week of the union budget. Also, union government finance minister has presented the annual economic survey today. So expectation must be that CutTheClutter today will talk about the economic survey. But if it's not doing that, it's for good reasons. The first, it is as usual quite voluminous, and it has a lot of data and observations and analysis in it, which needs time to read and digest. I just can't pick it up from five highlights and repeat them to you, because that you can see anyway. And for CutTheClutter, I have to find complexities that I simplify. Second, because this is a very profound matter, economic survey, I cannot do it quickly. I need time for doing it. Now, do I really want to be talking for about half an hour, 25 minutes on a day like this, when I'm in my COVID isolation and should actually be conserving my energy and conserving my voice to the extent possible? Because tomorrow is also the budget day, and I hope to be able to say something about the budget tomorrow, and I also hope to be able to recover more fully by tomorrow. Now, that is why we are looking at something else, because it's not as if we are short of stories to talk about, or we are short of issues to talk about. So one issue which we thought we'd rather not leave out from our discussions is what's happening in Canada right now. So what we've seen so far on Canada is these big convoys of angry truckers who are jamming Canada's highways. You've seen those pictures from the highways. You've seen those pictures from Ottawa, the capital of Canada, the tiny, very well organized city. It's not metro like, say, maybe Toronto or even Montreal or Vancouver. It's a capital city. But see how that's been now laid siege upon. Also Parliament Hill, which is the center point of Ottawa, quite a bit like, say, Vijay Chowk or Aisina Hill might be in Delhi. That's now surrounded by trucks. In fact, many of these protesters also climbed onto the National War Memorial there, and the mayor of Ottawa has actually made a statement which is quite striking. He's made a statement. His name is Jim Watson. He's made a statement that these protesters have also disrespected the war dead. So that is something that a lot of the veterans have complained about also, and lots of children of those who might have got killed in action fighting for Canada in the past. So this has become, in some ways, this reminds you a lot of the action, a lot of the scenery, a lot of the visuals, and a lot of the language. That reminds you of the kind of troubles we saw in and around Delhi with the farmers' movement, particularly the 26th January, unfortunate events of 26th January, when people came into Delhi city, when they pretty much invaded Red Fort, Lal Killa, also messed with the flag there, and even then the same impression had spread, and the same thing was said, that national symbols were disrespected. So some of very similar stuff is right now happening in Canada, and particularly around the Canadian capital. In fact, there are unconfirmed reports, and I know that there is a lot of stuff on social media, but I see international media, the New York Times also, is not saying that this is untrue, but they are saying they have no confirmation that Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister, and his family have shifted to another secure location from Ottawa. Now, the New York Times, as other media organizations, they quote Royal Canadian Mounted Police to say that, look, we can't say where they are. We can neither confirm nor deny it. So this is a real problem in Canada for Justin Trudeau. What's happened as a result is we have a lot of people in India, particularly those who are on the side of the government, now saying, Dekha, Justin Trudeau serves you right. And old tweets of not just Justin Trudeau and his statements on the farmer strike in India, but also a Canadian Liberal leader, Jagmeet Singh, they are being pulled out. I think he tweeted once saying no farmers, no food. So people are now saying, oh, no truckers, no food. So all that stuff is coming out. So that's like a big sort of wave of schadenfreude that's going on in India. Now, I just want to put out some details briefly so we know that while bringing any city to standstill, particularly a country's capital to standstill, is not a good idea. It's not a good idea unless provocation provocation is extreme and there is no other option left. Even having said that, if you look at the cause that the farmers had in India uh, for their own agitation or protest around Delhi, on the periphery of Delhi, and what these truckers have in Canada, there is a lot of difference. There is zameen asman ka farak. There is simply no resemblance in the kind of demands they have. Now, you might say the farmers' demands were right or wrong. You might say the farm laws were good or bad. I thought, for example, I still think the farm laws were good and they remain good. And it's unfortunate that we lost out on the farm laws, we as in the people of India, simply because Modi government was so arrogant and so ham-handed in the manner they tried to impose these top down instead of allowing a proper parliamentary scrutiny, functioning, debate, etc., etc. But that is that much watered down the Satluj. Let's not bother about that. The important thing right now is that big this big jamghat of truckers, and right now, in fact, again, if you read Canadian media and if you see the pictures coming out of there, you watch the BBC, CNN, Al Jazeera, you can see that a majority of these vehicles, while the big trucks look very visible and very impressive, a majority of the vehicles in these convoys are not even trucks anymore. They are smaller pickup trucks. They are also private cars. So a lot of private people have also joined in, because this is a kind of revolt. Now, the conservative leader there, Erin O'Toole, says that that's also because people are fed up for 2 years of restrictions, government bans, lockdowns, etc., etc. And people say, what the hell is going on? We are not going to put up with any more of this. But the fact also is that we are now, all democracies are very polarized societies. So there is a left, right, conservative, liberal polarization. So when one side is in power, followers of that side are usually okay, but the followers of the other side protest, and in the course of time, if one side remains in power for too long, the other side gets more impatient and then takes resort to public protest. Some of that's happening in Canada now. The extreme right elements or the extreme conservative elements of Canada, which is a lot of people, they are now coming out and joining the truckers. Although, mind you, what is the truckers' demand? And you know, it's not something that I would have figured immediately. But since I have figured this, I thought there is no way we can't be talking about this. The truckers mainly have one demand: withdraw the vaccine mandates, which means that there should be no compulsory vaccination certificates for truckers. This is not even for truckers moving from one part of Canada to the other or moving within Canada. This is only for truckers who are going to the US and coming back from the US, whether they are American truckers or they are Canadian truckers. You know that Canada has a huge, humongous border with America. In fact, the only one. A lot of their supplies come from there, a lot of their trade. Canadian economy internally, it's a huge continent-sized country with a very small population. It is a trucking-dependent economy. And a lot of that trucking also is the spine on which US-Canada trade runs. And a lot of the goods that Canada consumes are grown in the US. So from October 30 last year, Canadian government had issued a vaccine mandate for all other transport workers. That's airline, shipping, railways, etc., etc. January 15 this year, that is just about a fortnight back, they also issued a similar mandate for truck drivers. What that means is any Canadian driver taking a truck to America or any American driver bringing a truck into Canada. As we know that Canada and America have free movement of their respective citizens, they have to be vaccinated. If they are not vaccinated, they will be put in a compulsory quarantine. That is what the truckers are complaining about. Now, how many people does it involve? And once I tell you, you will be surprised, but also it will give us a sense of how polarized our societies in democracies are and how small things can become very big issues, or how a popular anger, resentment, a sense of loss of political power can lead to mass movements while the underlying cause might not be so big and might not be so just either. Now, in Canada, more than 80% people are already fully vaccinated. So more than 20% not vaccinated is still not good, but more than 80% are vaccinated. Opinion poll after opinion poll is telling us that people support the idea of vaccinations. But there is always a small group that says vaccines are all fake, fraud, you can still get sick without vaccination. See, after all, look at Shekhar Gupta. He got his 2 shots, he's fully vaccinated, still got COVID, right? So there is that lot, but that lot is a minority. Now these truckers, if you look at the truckers community, first of all, no trucker who's plying within Canada is affected. That is about 300,000, 3 lakh truckers, the bulk of the truckers. Truckers who ply their trade between the US and Canada is about 1,20,000 truckers. Of this also, more than 80%, in fact 85 to 90% are already vaccinated. So Truckers Association of Canada, or the Trucking Alliance as it's called, they are telling us that even these mandates, vaccine mandates, will not affect more than 16,000 truckers. And yet you have all these people coming out laying siege to the national capital. That's because a lot of the people have seen the loss of power, people on the right. They've also seen one party in power, and they also generally tend to be partly anti-establishmentarian. Now, the fact is that they have some support. So they started raising money, usual GoFundMe campaign. On GoFundMe campaign, they've now raised almost 50 crore rupees from more than 1 lakh contributors. Now, a small population like Canada, 1 lakh contributors in real cash, real money is not so small. So 50 crore rupee equivalent, that's almost 7 million US dollars, have already been connected by these people. Now, a lot of the extreme right groups have joined them, but one bit of leadership that's emerged there is somebody called Tamara Lich, L-I-C-H, Lich or Lish, I don't know how to pronounce it. Now, Tamara Lich is the secretary of a reasonably new party called the Maverick Party. And as the name indicates, Maverick is not like the call sign for Tom Cruise in Top Gun. Maverick as in Maverick, right? So she is the secretary of the Maverick Party, and she's been heading this freedom convoy, as they call it. Freedom from what? Freedom from vaccination, right? So she's the one who's been leading it. Now her party is formally not involved with what's going on, but Jay Hill, who's the interim head of the party, he says, look, there is a widespread resentment in the country about these mandates which are being imposed. People want more freedoms, people want to have freedom of choice, but the fact also is that this party, this Maverick Party, has also been the supporter, at least if not fully overtly, partly, but reasonably overtly also, of the idea of separating of the 3 Western republics of Canada becoming separated from the rest of Canada. So to that extent, don't laugh, there is also a little bit of a Khalistan movement there. There might not have been any in the farmers movement in India, although people tended to throw all these accusations at them. But this extreme right-wing party, which is pushing for this so-called freedom convoy, has also been supporting those sentiments, and that's why the convoy first started building in the western provinces of Canada. Western provinces in Canada are provinces towards the Pacific. Now, as always happens with these cases, full-fledged politics has broken out. Erin O'Toole, the conservative leader, has said that this has all happened because Justin Trudeau gave out these draconian orders on vaccine mandates and people are not liking it. So obviously opposition will take advantage of it. Also, a lot of people in India, particularly supporters of the government, will also have a sense of schadenfreude, which they are doing right now. But be careful, because see what is the cause that is driving these people and who are these people. If you ask me, I will not use any euphemism. Ye pagal parade hai. These are madcaps doing this nonsensical stuff and trying to arm twist and blackmail an entire country into going against vaccines. And finally, remember what? Vaccines work. Because if vaccines did not work, then I would not be sitting in front of you by myself. There is nobody behind the camera. The camera is just rigged. I'm speaking to the camera. I hope I get it right. So if there are any imperfections, please forgive me. I'm my own cameraman today, and I'm not even behind the camera. I'm in front of the camera. But the fact is that it's because of the vaccines that in the third wave, a very vast majority of the people who got hit by the virus finally. See, one day it does seem like some variant of the virus will get you. Just as the soldiers say in the armies that you can dodge a million bullets, but the bullet which has your name written on it will come for you. So maybe a viral variant which has your name written on it will probably come for you. But would you be better off dealing with it unvaccinated, or would you be better off dealing with it fully vaccinated? Now, that is a call all of us have to make, and my call to you and my suggestion would be fully vaccinated is enormously better than anything else. So please do get fully vaccinated if you haven't already done so.